you today. Okay, today we are going to be looking at some tricky questions on the quadratic equation. So, and I observed that many students run away from questions like that. So we are going to learn how to solve such problem, and you are going to see how simple those questions are. Okay, so before we commence the class, I want you to kindly invite your friends, let them know the class has started, so you can share this link with your phone. I will want to advise you to get your writing materials ready, because today class is going to be interactive as usual. Okay, so get yourself ready for the class, get your writing materials, and also don't forget, if you are new on this channel, ensure that you subscribe to this channel. Okay, and also don't forget to give a thumb of like, right, to this channel. Okay, so while we wait for those that are yet to join us, let's see. As you're joining the class, I want you to say hi. Let's know those that are in the class. All right. Okay, I think now I can see Riscott. Riscott, you're welcome to class. Just yes, Falashade, you're welcome to class. Yes, I think I have Theos. Okay, good evening. You're welcome to class. Okay. All right, all right. Yes. Okay, I can see you, Mutiat here, Adebayo. You're welcome to class. Okay. All right. Yeah, good evening. You're welcome to class. All right. So, yeah. Okay. Yes. We are going to start now. Okay. So, now before we start, ensure you have given you tap your like button. Okay, make sure you do that. So, and if you have not subscribed, ensure you do that. Okay. All right. So now let's look at the first question we have here. These are common questions, exam questions. So how do we solve this first one? Okay, the first one we have here is 2x squared plus 9x equals to negative 9. Okay, so I'm going to solve this problem, but before I solve this problem, I want you to quickly try it. While you are doing that, others will join us. Okay, so now try this and let's see what you have. So by the time I start doing it, so you can just oppose it with your answer. So let's try this first one. Get your biro and paper. Okay, and you try the first one before we solve the problem together. So as we are joining the class, look at the first question we have on the board. Make an attempt before we solve the problem. Okay, Raji, you are welcome to class. Okay, yeah, good evening. All right, okay, Sheung, you're welcome to class. Okay, so as I'm joining the class, please, the first question, let's make an attempt. Let's see what we can do. Let's try the question. First question there. Can make an attempt. And don't forget, as you're joining the class, ensure you tap the like button. Okay. All right. Okay. Toyosi, that's good. Thank you. Thank you for reminding everyone. Okay. Yeah. Okay. If you have an answer, you can drop your answer in the comment section if you have an answer to that. because I'm about starting now. You have the answer to that first one. You can drop in the comment section. Let's see what you have. All right. Okay. So I think we can now swing into action now. Okay. So let's see how you expected to solve this. Now this is a quadratic equation. Now the first thing is to rearrange the equation. So you have 2x squared plus 9x plus 9 equals to 0. So you identify the sum and products. So we have the sum and product. So what is the sum here? The sum is positive 9. Okay. And what is the product? Product is going to be 2 times 9, and that gives you 18. All right. So now the idea is we want to split this 9x into two parts. So now those two numbers that we're going to split into two, we'll get that from here. Okay, so you look for two numbers such that when you multiply together, you have 18. When you add together, you have 9. So I want you to drop your own answer to that in the comment section. So what are the two numbers such that when multiplied together, you have 18, and when add together, you have 9. Don't forget what I told you in the last class. If you were there, I said that those two numbers must be factors of 18. So what you need to be thinking of is factors of 18. So you begin to think of, okay, what are the numbers that can go in 18? We have 1, we have 2, we have 3. That's plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3, okay? So, and then we have plus or minus 6, plus or minus 9, and then plus or minus 18. So now you can get out of those pool of numbers, so you can just get the two numbers such that when you add together, you have 9, and when you multiply together, you have 18. I want to believe by now every one of you must have gotten that. Okay, so the numbers are plus 3 and plus 6. Okay, good. So that means this equation turns to 2x squared plus 6x plus 3x plus 9 equals to 0. You see, nothing has changed. We've broken this into two parts. So that's what we have done. So now what is the next thing now? Look at the first pair here. So now you find the GCD of these two numbers. That is the greatest common factor or divisors of these two numbers. So what are the two numbers? We have 2 and x. 2 can go here, 2 can go here, x can go here, and x can also completely go here. So that is 2x. So 2x is the GCD. Okay, so now when you divide 2x squared by 2x, you're left with x. And what of 6x? So we have plus 3. Okay, so now let's look at the next one. So what is the GCD here? That's 3. Okay, so we have plus 3. So when you divide this by plus 3, we have x. Divide 9 by 3, you have plus 3 equals to 0. All right, so find the GCD of these two terms. That is x plus 3, 2x plus 3 equals to 0. I hope you get that. Okay, so we have two numbers multiplying each other to have 0. So it's either this first one is 0 or the second one. Okay, so we have x plus 3 equals to 0, or 2x plus 3 equals to 0. Hope you get that. Okay, good. So now you subtract 3 from both sides here. You have x equals to negative 3, or 2x, you subtract 3 from both sides, equals to negative 3. Okay, so here you can divide both sides by 2. So you have x equals to negative 3 over 2, and therefore x equals to negative 1 and number 1 over 2. So the roots or the answers to these problems are x equals to negative 3, and x equals to negative 1 whole number 1 over 2. So I hope you understand that. Good. All right, so now let's move down to the next question. Let's move down to the next question. So we have p squared minus p plus 1 over 4 equals 0. All right, so I hope this question is not going to confuse us. So now I want you to identify the sum and the product here. Okay, you need to do some adjustments. So can you try that? Find the sum and product. So now I want you to drop that in the comment section. The sum and product of this. So if you are thinking the way I'm thinking, now the first thing I'm supposed to do before I get the sum, so that will make the work easier, is to multiply through by 4, so that I'll clear this fraction. All right, so I multiply this by 4, this by 4, this by 4, this by 4. Why 4? Because 4 is the denominator we have here. So and to clear this 4, we must multiply 1 over 4 by 4, so that 4 will cancel out. Okay, so now this equation turns to 4p squared, multiply this by 4, negative 4p, multiply this by 4, that will give you 1. Because when you say 4 times 1 times 4, so we have 4, so 4 will cancel 4, so you have 1, okay, that is equals to 0. All right, so I think now every one of you now can now see the sum and product clearly. Okay, so can you tell me what the sum is now? What's going to be the sum and what is the product? What is the sum? What is the product? Okay, so now if you know the answer, I want you to drop that in the comment section. Okay, so the sum is the coefficient of p. Coefficient of p. So what is the coefficient of p here? That's negative 4. And the product is what? 4 times 1, and that is 4. All right, so now this you are going to do for me now. Right, so we need two numbers such that when we multiply together you have plus 4, and when you add together you have negative 4. All right, so what are the two numbers? So drop the answer in the comment section. So while you are doing that, if you are new in this channel and you have not subscribed to this channel, ensure you do that. And also don't forget to tap the like button. Okay, so yes, what is the two answers? Don't forget what I told you. Begin to think of factors of 4. Factors of 4. So we have plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 4. Okay, so how do you combine that to give you this? Okay, so yes. Yes, okay, let's begin to think of those numbers. Yes, I want you to drop your answer in the comment section. Your answer in the comment section. Now it's very simple. Okay, so we have negative 2 and negative 2. Now look at this. Negative 2 and negative 2, when you add the 2 together, you have negative 4. You agree with that? Okay, so and when you multiply these 2 together, you have plus 4, because minus times minus is plus. 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, so now can we incorporate this here? So that means we are splitting this one. We split it into 2. That is going to be negative 2p, negative 2p. Okay, so let's write. We have 4p squared, negative 2p, negative 2p. And that is the same thing as negative 4p. Okay, so plus 1 equals to 0. All right, so the next thing is to find the GCD of these two terms. Okay, what is the GCD? That's going to be 2p, because 2 can go here, p can go in these two terms. So when you divide this by 2p, so what do you have? You have 2p. And you divide this by 2p, you have negative 1. So here, what is the GCD here? So that's going to give us negative 1. Okay, so when you factor out negative 1, we have 2p. So this will turn to negative this time around. Okay, -1 equals to what? Equals to 0. Now, from here, you can find the GCD of these two terms. What can go here can also go here. That is 2p minus 1 is common. So you are left with 2p minus 1. So 2p minus 1 equals to 0. Okay, so that means we have 2p minus 1 equals to 0, or 2p minus 1 equals to 0. So that means 2p equals to 1, or 2p equals to 1. Okay, so here what do you do now? You divide both sides by 2. We have p equals to 1 over 2 twice. Because we are going to be having 2 of this, because this one too is going to give you 1 over 2. So, and that is the answer to the problem. Can you see how to solve problems or quadratic equation with fraction? Okay, so whenever you see a quadratic equation with fraction, just try and clear the fraction by multiplying the whole equation by the denominator. Okay. All right. So now let's move down to the next one. And that is the last one for the first phase of this question. Yes, you have to solve 9y times y plus 1 equals to 4. Okay, so now you are going to do something for me now. Look at this one. So you need to write something in your book. So I want you to identify the sum and the product of this for me. So I want you to drop your answer in the comment section. So let's see those that will be able to give me that. What is the sum and product of 9y times y plus 1 equals to 4? Yes. Okay, so let's drop. What is the sum and product of the equation we have on the board? Yes. So I'm waiting for answers from Raji, from Marinette, from Toyosi. Okay, you can see we are all online. Okay, so we have Falashadi there and others. So what do you have? Sum and products. Okay, Marinette, sum is 1. Sum is 1. Are you sure? What is the product? What is the product of that quadratic equation? The product of the quadratic equation. Yes, any other person? Okay. Okay. So, okay. Marinette, I've dropped an answer. So sum is 9. Okay. Polashade, sum is 9. Okay. Product is -4. Okay. Now let's see how you are expected to get the sum and product. Now the first thing now is to find a way of expressing this equation in this format. Okay. All right. So now let's do that. So we use 9y to multiply this y. So 9y times y. That gives us 9y squared. 9y times 1. That's going to give us plus 9y. And that is equals to what? 4. And from here, you can transpose this 4. So we have 9y squared plus 9y negative 4 equals to 0. Okay, can you see that now? So the next thing is to identify the sum and product. So the sum is the coefficient of y. Okay, and that's plus 9. While the product is the product of 9 and negative 4, and that is negative 36. All right. So now we need two numbers such that when we multiply together, you have negative 36, and when you add together, you have plus 9. So now can you get that for me? The two numbers. Don't forget I told you, begin to think of factors of negative 36. All right, so now let us look at this. Negative 3 and 12. Can these two numbers be the two numbers that the product is this and the sum is this? Okay, let's check. What is 3 times 12? That is 36. Okay, so, but we have negative, that's going to give us negative 36. All right, it works for product. Let's look at the sum. Now, when you add this and this together, 12 minus 3, that gives you 9. So the two numbers are negative 3 and 12. You will see all these two numbers are factors of negative 36. Okay, so can we plug in this? Yeah, so let's plug in this value. So we have 9y squared minus 3y plus 12y minus 4 equals to 0. Okay, do you get that now? All right, so now look at the first pair here. Find the GCD. So the GCD here is 3y. When you divide this by 3, you have 3y. And divide negative 3y by 3y, you have negative 1. So look at this second terms. So the GCD is what? Is plus 4. Okay, when you divide this one by plus 4, you have 3y. And this you have negative 1. Equals to what? 0. All right, so we can factor out what we have in the bracket. So we have 3y minus 1, 3y plus 4 equals to 0. So we have 3y minus 1 equals to 0, or 3y plus 4 equals to 0. I hope you get that. So we have 3y equals to 1, or 3y equals to negative 4. So from here, you can divide both sides by the coefficient of y. So we have y equals to 1 over 3, or y equals to negative 4 over 3. All right, so, and this is the same thing as negative 1 number 1 over 3. So these are the two answers to the problem. All right, so I want to believe you all understand that. Okay, so that's how to solve the problem. Okay, so we are moving down to another set of questions. So if you have not tapped the like button, please ensure to do that. Ensure you tap the like button. Okay, and also if you are new on this channel, ensure you click on the notification button, subscription button, right? Okay, so that you'll be notified anytime you're in class. Okay, so let's move down to the next set of questions. Okay, now let's look at the first question. We have x plus 3 raised to the power of 2 minus 13 equals to 9x. All right, can we all see this question? So how do we solve this? Now, when you look at this equation, you can see we have something we need to expand. So we have to expand what we have here. Now, let's do the expansion here. Now, x plus 3 raised to the power of 2 is the same thing as x plus 3 times x plus 3. Okay, so now what do we do now? The first term we have here, which is x, multiplies everything we have here. So we pick the second term, it multiplies everything we have here. So now let's pick the first one. X multiplies everything we have here. So x times x, we have x squared. X times 3, we have plus 3x. So we come here now, the second one, plus 3 times x, that is plus 3x. And plus 3x times plus 3x, that is plus 9, because 3 times 3 is 9. So when you look at this, these are similar. So we join together. All right, so we have x squared plus 6x plus 9. All right, so that's what we have. So, and that will replace what we have here. So this equation now turns to, so instead of writing x plus 3 squared now, so we can just plug in this. So we have x squared plus 6x plus 9 minus 13 equals to 9x. Okay, so now the next thing is to transpose 9x. Now let's do that. So we have x squared plus 6x. Now let's transpose this. We have negative 9x plus 9 negative 13 equals to 0. Okay, so we have x squared. Now when you look at this, they are similar. So, and that gives you what? Negative 3x. Okay, so now let's look at this and this. What does it give you? Negative 4 equals to 0. So here you can identify your sum and product. So what is your sum and what is your product? The sum and product. Okay, what do we have as sum? Coefficient of x. Okay, we all know that. And what is the product? That's negative 4. So what are the two numbers? When you multiply together, you have negative 4. And then when you add together, you have negative 3. What are the numbers? We have negative 4 and 1. Okay, is that what you have? So when you multiply this together, you have negative. So when added together, you have negative 3. So now this equation turns to x squared negative 4x plus 1x. Okay, negative 4 equals to 0. Hope you understand that, because when you join this together, you have negative 3x. Okay, so now let's look at the first here. We look for the GCD. What's the GCD of this? We have x. So when you divide x squared by x, we have x. Divide minus 4x by x, we have minus 4. So here, the GCD is plus 1. So we have plus 1, x minus 4 equals to 0. Okay? All right, so you can factor out what we have here. So what is that? So that is x plus 1. And you are left with x plus 4, sorry. And you are left with x plus 1 equals to 0. So now it's either x plus 4 equals to 0 or x plus 1 equals to 0. So you transpose 4, you have x equals to negative 4 or x equals to negative 1. And these are the two answers to the question we have here, the first question we have here. Okay, so I want to believe you all understand that. Okay, now let's look at number 2. So I want you to try this number 2 before I solve the problem. I want to see how you're going to approach the problem. So let's see. If you know the answer to that and you have solved, You can drop your answer in the comment section before we solve together. Okay. Or better still, you pause the video, you try it, and then you check what we have as the answer. The second one, we have y minus 6 squared equals to 49. So what is the solution? Find the solution to that problem. So if you have the answer, can you drop that in the comment section? Okay. Yeah. Do we have anyone that can attempt that problem? Yes. Okay. Yes, because of our precious time. Now, let us solve it together. So while you are doing that, you can cross-check with what you have in your notes. So let's look at it. Now, to solve this, many students, we want to use, we just want to, you can just square this, and that will be wrong. So will not get the whole mark. I can do it this way, y minus 6 all squared equals to 7 squared. I will now say, okay, since the powers are equal, I equate the base. If I do it that way, I will only get one of the roots. I will not get the two answers. Okay, so now the best way to do this is to move this here. So we have y minus 6 all squared negative 449 equals to 0. So this is a perfect square. So this can be written as y minus 6 all squared minus 7 squared equals to 0. Now this is difference of two squares. So when you add difference of two squares, now all you just need to do is subtract the base from each other and also add the base together. Okay, so we are going to do that now. So we have y minus 6 minus 7. Okay, we are subtracting the base. This minus, okay, so no, so this is supposed to be minus 7. Okay, not minus. Okay, minus 7. Okay, so that's minus 7. And the next one is you add the base together. That's y minus 6 plus 7. That's 0. Okay, I hope you get that. So let's tidy up what we have in the bracket. So we have y minus 13. Okay, and this is y plus 1 equals to 0. Okay, so now it's either y minus 13 equals to 0 or y plus 1 equals to 0. So you can add 13 to both sides. We have y equals to 13, or subtract 1 from both sides. We have y equals to negative 1. So these are the roots. So we have two answers, two roots. Okay, so let's look at the last one. The last one, now you can see that we have different base. So all you just need to do is just to find the LCM of the base. All right, so what is going to be the LCM of 4, 6, and 3? Okay, is that 12? Okay, I think that is 12. So now we multiply this by 12, this by 12, this by 12, and this by 12. And let's do that. So we have 12 times x squared minus 3 times 12 over 4x equals to 1 times 12 over 6 minus 1 times 12 over 3x. I hope you understand that. So we multiply each of them by 12. So now this gives us what? 12x squared. Now 4 goes here 1, 4 goes here 3. So we have negative 3 times 3. That will give us negative 9x equals to, now look at this. 6 goes here 1, 6 goes here 2. So we have 2. Okay. So 3 goes here 1, 3 goes here 4. So we have negative 4x. I hope you understand that. Okay, so now let us transpose these two terms. Okay, so we have 12x squared, negative 9x. So when you transpose negative 4x, it will give you plus 4x. Okay, so and negative 2 equals 0. So we have 12x squared. Now this and this gives you negative 5x. Hope you understand that. All right, so we have negative 2 equals to 0. So we can now go ahead and find the sum and product. Find the sum and product. So what is the sum and what is the product of this equation? So now the sum is the coefficient of x, right? That's negative 5. We have negative 5. And the product will be the multiplication of 12 and negative 2. And that is what? Negative 24. Good. So we need two numbers such that when you multiply together, you have what? 24. And when you multiply together, you have negative 24. And when you add together, you have negative 5. So what are the numbers? So those numbers must be factors of 24. So let's think of 8, let's say negative 8 and 3. Now look at this. What is negative 8 times 3? That gives you 24. And when you add this together, you have negative 5. So the two numbers are negative 8 and plus 3. So we can incorporate that here. So it's going to replace the negative 5 here. So we have 12x squared, negative 8x plus 3x and negative 2 equals to 0. I hope you understand that. So all we just did was just to divide negative 5x into two parts. And of course now it's the same thing as negative 5x. So we have not created any new thing. Okay. So now let's look at the first pair here. Now what is the GCD? I can see 4 can go in 12, it can also go in 8. And 2 can go here, 2 can also go here. So that means I have 4x. When I divide this by 4x, I have 3 what? X. Okay, so here, what is the factor we are going to have? That's going to be 2. Okay, negative 2. So here, what is the GCD here is plus 1. We have 3x minus 2 equals to 0. So you can factor out what we have in the bracket. So we have 3x minus 2, 4x plus 1 equals to 0. All right, you get that? So you equate 3x minus 2 equals to 0, or 4x plus 1 equals to 0. So here you can add 2 to both sides. So to have 3x equals to 2, or you subtract 1 from both sides, you have 4x equals to negative 1. So yeah, let's divide both sides by 3. So we have x equals to 2 over 3, or x equals to negative 1 over 4. So that will be the answer to the last question here. So I want to believe you guys understand the explanation. So if this class is impactful, don't forget to give a thumb. Make sure you tap the like button. Okay, thank you for doing that. Okay, so now let's move down to another question here. Construct the equation of the quadratic equation. Quadratic equations whose roots are -2 and +3. So -1/3 and okay. So now we are given this question. We have to obtain the quadratic equation whose roots are -2 and +3 and -1/3 and -2/3. Now here, what the question wants us to get is the equation whose answers are this. That is, when you solve the quadratic equation, these are the answers you are going to have. So we start by saying, let the equation be in terms of t. So if it's in terms of t, so that means t equals to -2 or t equals to +3. So now let's transpose. We have t plus 2 equals to 0 or t minus 3 equals to 0. So you can now bring these two together. So we have t plus 2, t minus 3 equals to 0. So we can expand this. So let's expand. Now t times t is t squared. T times -3, we have -3t. Now 2 times t, we have plus 2t. Now 2 times -3, we have -6 equals to 0. All right. So what's the next thing? Now when you look at this, these are similar. So we have t squared minus t. Okay, -6x plus 2x, that gives you -t. Minus 6 equals to 0 is the required equation. Okay, so now let's look at the next one. 2. Now let x, okay, let the equation be in x. It's in terms of x. So now it follows that x equals to -1/3 or x equals to -2/3. Okay, so here we can cross multiply. So you know this x is x over 1. So 3 multiplies x. We have 3x equals to -1. Or let's multiply. We have 3x equals to -2. Can you see that? So can we transpose this? We have 3x plus 1 equals to 0 or 3x plus 2 equals to 0. So we can bring these two together now. So we have 3x plus 1, 3x plus 2 equals to 0. So now let's expand this. So we have 3x multiplies everything here. So 3x times 3x, that's 9x squared. Now 3x times 2, we have plus 6x. Now 1 times 3x, we have 3x. And 1 times 2, we have plus 2. Okay, so that's what we have. So from there, you have 9x x squared. Now when you join this and this together, you have 9x plus 2 equals to 0. Okay, so is the required equation. So this is the required equation. All right. So I want to believe you guys have learned one or two things. Okay, so I'm going to hang it up here now. All right. So tomorrow is another day. I have a lot of questions for you. A lot of questions that many students will always want to run away from. So, but they are simple. You can see there are some questions that some of you may think is hard, but you can see when we solve the problem and see they're all simple. Okay, so I have similar questions we are going to look into together tomorrow. All right, so by now I expect every one of you to start building your confidence in mathematics. Right, so thank you very much for watching, and don't forget, before I leave, um, always remember to view my videos. All of this that we are doing, I have done a lot of videos on it, on quadratic equations, so you can always go through those videos, and once you go through them, ensure you share with your friends, and don't always forget to drop your comment and also tap the like button. Okay, thank you for doing that. Have a night rest. Bye bye.